Ms. Yuan Ling.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, with Singapore having one of the highest rates of digital penetration globally and the ubiquitous influence of the internet and social media among Singaporeans has been well documented and is certainly here to stay. Today, social media platforms are not merely a conduit through which people interact with one another, but they serve as an extension of an individual's being, a representation of who they are and what they stand for. Given how much our digital spaces shape our physical realities, the formation of online communities and groups mirrors the physical society we live in, and therefore the actions we take and the information we read online bear no less significance than those we do in person and in print. If we accept that our societies are governed by rules and laws that aim to maintain peace and harmony in our nation, then why should our online societies be absolved of such a need? It is for this reason that I welcome the proposed amendments to the Online Safety Bill, and in particular, two significant requirements that were laid out in the new measures. First, the call for greater transparency from social media platforms in their decision-making process, and secondly, the obligation for these platforms to provide practical guidance and guidelines to educate local online users, along with the implementation of simple ways for users to report harmful content and unwanted interactions. First, greater transparency. Behind the personalized context that we see on our social media accounts, there exist complex algorithms with various inputs and metrics that determine what is recommended to us. With online platforms expected to provide greater clarity regarding how they intend to protect local users from harmful content, users are not only granted the opportunity to make informed decisions, but are also better able to understand the decision-making process with regards to appeals and requests they make surrounding egregious content. Secondly, the requirement for practical guidance from social media platforms. To successfully build a safe online environment, it is imperative that users are well educated on what constitutes harmful conduct and content, and it is my hope that the new measures fulfill this need. Furthermore, providing easy and open communication channels will best allow users to voice their concerns, as users play an equal part in fostering a safe online environment. With these developments are indeed a first step in the right direction, it is important that we do not just stop at this juncture. While the amendment primarily focuses on specific egregious content that includes posts advocating suicide, self-harm, terrorism, sexual exploitation, and other material that risk damaging our social fabric, these are not the only issues that constitute online harm. If we recognize that our online society is very much an extension of the physical society we share in, then we as a country should strive to regulate our social media just as we would our physical reality. This is especially important for native issues that arise specifically from the use of social media, specifically in the realm of their public and private posts and their platforms' direct messaging services on issues such as cyberbullying, doxing, or even revenge porn. Even as Singapore has enacted legislation such as the Protection from Harassment Act, or POHA, to deal with such specific issues, these laws currently do not afford the capacity to hold social media platforms responsible regarding their action or lack thereof in dealing with such situations, especially when the platform yields significant control over the speed of the entire process and the final outcome. For a victim to have no agency over information about their private lives being shared online, such an experience can be extremely destabilizing and traumatizing, and in certain cases, this could even place them at the risk of physical harm. I'm reminded of a rather vexing and traumatic personal story shared with me by a young lady who was scared, traumatized, worried, and confused. As a victim of doxing, she had her personal details, her name, school, employer, amongst other things revealed online against her desire by an anonymous account. When she attempted to remove the post and sought recourse from the social media platform, the lack of urgency in dealing with the matter exacerbated the already extreme levels of vulnerability and fear she experienced, knowing that every extra second the post was allowed to remain online was another opportunity for a vile user to re-victimize her. Even though she had also lodged a police report, there was no certainty that the report would expedite the removal of her personal identifiable information that has been shared online. On my part, I had reported the offending account to the social media platform on the same day that the young lady had reached out to me for help. I received an acknowledgement note almost immediately from the platform saying that they received the report and they would use their community guidelines to review the account. It was not until 4 days later, that I received a note from the social media platform saying this, and I quote, "We didn't remove XXX account. Because of the high volume of reports we receive, our team hasn't been able to review this account. Bullying and harassment are not okay and are against our community guidelines. There are a few things you can do to avoid seeing accounts you find upsetting. If you don't want to see XXX on our media platform, you can unfollow, mute, or block them to hide their posts and comments from your feed. If you think this account has posted specific content that shows bullying or harassment, please let us know by reporting the relevant post, comment, or story so we can review it." Case closed. I note that at the time of the report, the account only had one post, which is the one that the young lady had brought to my attention. It is extremely troubling to know how helpless she and even I felt throughout this whole situation, as she received no update or communication from the social media platform regarding the case until the outcome was finalized, of which the post had been removed only after an extended period of time. The account, however, remained active to this day, leaving the victim at the mercy of the anonymous user who could yet again subject the victim to another episode of doxing. Clearly, social media platforms ought to take more responsibility in such a situation. Social media platforms, you can do better, and we can do better for online safety. Mr. Deputy Speaker, while I know we cannot reasonably expect social media platforms to transform their processes and policies overnight, I hope this anecdote serves as a reminder of the extent of harm that our local users can potentially be subjected to, and perhaps provide a reference point and an impetus from which regulation can derive its requirements from. It is therefore heartening to see the call for greater transparency surrounding the decision-making processes of social media platforms, along with the tools, resources, and enforcement options available to them. With greater clarity, users are better informed and well assured about how social media platforms can support them upon experiencing online harm. Yet these measures do not fully grasp the emotional and mental turbulence that one experiences as a victim of online harm. The apparent lack of human touch in the process of dealing with online harm by social media platforms reflects a certain degree of uncongeniality and coolness that does not work to protect and support victims in times of need, and perhaps should be re-evaluated. In conclusion, if the new laws enacted aim to mitigate the present online harms, then it is my hope that we will continue to expand our remit and regulations to protect our users from having to suffer from experiences such as the one I have encountered. I support the bill.